The Iraqi sun hangs like molten copper over the desert, 1991. 3 clicks south of the Kuwait border. 2 American helicopters cut through the haze, their rotors chewing the superheated air. Inside the lead bird, Captain Thomas Mackenzie grips a folder marked, classified, his knuckles white against the manila. 35 years old, jaw set like concrete eyes scanning documents that shouldn't exist. Beside him, Major James Brennan leans close, shouting over the rotor wash. 43 silver creeping through his crew cut 3 decades of service etched in the lines around his eyes. Tommy, if this is real, if these weapons are really being sold on the black market. They're real, Mackenzie cuts him off. His voice carries the weight of certainty. 500 million in military hardware. Diverted, sold. Our own supply chain feeding enemy forces. Brennan's face hardens. Who knows about this? You, me, and whoever's trying to bury it. The radio crackles. Pilot's voice urgent. Contact RPGs, 9 o'clock. The world tilts. Explosion rips through the tail rotor. The helicopter spins, gravity and momentum wrestling for control. Mackenzie's folder scatters pages, whipping through the cabin like white birds fleeing a fire. The ground rushes up, unforgiving. Impact. Metal screams. Bodies thrown against harnesses. Smoke, thick and black, floods the cabin. Brennan's seatbelt jammed, twisted metal pinning him. He pulls muscles, straining. Nothing gives. Jim. Mackenzie's already moving, blood streaming from a gash above his eye. He doesn't wipe it away. Hands work the release mechanism, fingers sure despite the chaos. I've got you. The files. Forget the files, we're getting out. Gunfire now. Distant but closing. The second helicopter, circling, unable to land in the hot zone. Mackenzie hauls Brennan through the twisted doorframe, both men stumbling onto sand that's already soaking up fuel from ruptured tanks. They run. 50 meters. 75. Behind them, the helicopter erupts, fireball punching into the sky. Later, much later, in a field hospital tent that smells of disinfectant and blood, Brennan grips Mackenzie's arm. His hand shakes, not from fear, but from something deeper. Rage. Grief for evidence lost. We finish this together, Tommy. No matter how long it takes. Mackenzie meets his eyes. If anything happens to me, you make sure the truth comes out. Promise me. I promise. The image freezes, fades to black. White text appears stark against the darkness. 35 years later, Fort Carson, Colorado, 2026. Dust rises in lazy spirals from baked earth. The outdoor firing range at Fort Carson sits empty in the midday heat, 15 lanes stretching toward distant target arrays. The smell of gun oil and cordite hangs in the air like a memory that won't fade. Temperature pushing 93 degrees, the kind of dry heat that turns sweat to salt before it can drip. She sits cross-legged in the shade of the equipment, shed back straight, shoulders relaxed. 29 years old, plain uniform, bearing no rank tabs, no name tape, nothing to identify her beyond the basic fact of military-issue clothing. Dark hair pulled back in a regulation bun. Storm gray eyes focused on the rifle laid out before her in precise components. Reese Mackenzie. Her hands move with mechanical efficiency, cleaning cloth in small circles across the bolt carrier group. Each movement economical, practice, the kind of muscle memory that doesn't come from manuals or basic training. This is something deeper. This is religion written in gun oil and repetition. 4 counts in, 4 counts held, 4 counts out. The breathing pattern never breaks. Across the range, Master Ellis pauses. 64 years old, spine still straight, despite the years, face weathered like desert stone. He's been running this range for 15 years, seen every type of shooter the military produces. Olympic qualifiers, Marine Scout snipers with 20-year careers, special operations personnel who don't talk about where they've been. But that breathing pattern, 4-4-4, box breathing, combat breathing, the kind they drill into you in very particular training pipelines, the kind most people don't know exists. Ellis shifts his weight hand, moving unconsciously toward the radio at his belt. He doesn't key it, not yet, but his attention locks on the woman, the way she holds each component, the angle of her wrists, the placement of her fingers. His jaw tightens. He's seen this before, in very specific places, under very specific circumstances. The sound of boots on gravel announces them before they appear. 7 officers, crisp Navy uniforms reflecting the harsh sunlight. They cross the firing line with the casual confidence of men who own every space they enter. Admiral Victor Kane leads them. 61 years old, chest heavy with ribbons that tell stories of 38 years in service. Jaw set in the expression of a man used to being obeyed without question. 3 stars gleaming on his collar. He stops 10 feet from the equipment shed. His shadow falls across Reese's workspace. She doesn't look up, just keeps cleaning. Cloth moving in the same steady rhythm. Kane's lips curl into something that might be a smile if it held any warmth. So tell me, sweetheart. His voice carries across the empty range. What's your rank? Or are you just here to polish our rifles? The officers flanking him laugh. Sharp sounds like breaking glass. Lieutenant Dylan Hargrove moves up beside the Admiral. 34 lean and tan, second in command, written in every cocky angle of his stance. He crosses his arms, grin widening. Maybe she's maintenance, sir. You know how it is. They let anyone on the range these days for cleanup duty. More laughter. One of the junior officers, fresh academy shine still clinging to his uniform, nudges his buddy. $10 says she can't even load that thing properly. 20 says she's never fired anything bigger than a 9mm. The betting spreads through the group like wildfire through dry grass. Reese's hands still for just a heartbeat. Then she sets down the bolt carrier, places the cleaning cloth beside it with the same careful precision. Her fingers steady, no tremor, no hesitation. When she finally raises her head, her eyes are calm. Stormwater gray, like the sky before lightning. They meet Kane's stare without flinching, without anger, without any readable emotion at all. No rank to report, sir. Her voice quiet, neutral. The kind of voice that doesn't rise to bait. Just here to shoot. Hargrove snorts. Just here to shoot. You hear that, Admiral? He turns to the others. Hope she's got someone to hold her hand on the trigger. Recoil on these babies can be rough if you don't know what you're doing. Maybe we should spot for her, another officer suggests, grinning. Make sure she doesn't hurt herself or embarrass the Corps. Ellis shifts position near the control tower. His hand moves toward the radio again. The breathing pattern. The grip she had on that bolt carrier, index and middle finger, positioned exactly where they needed to be for a speed reassembly in low-light conditions. He swallows hard. Kane steps closer, hands on hips. You're cleared to be on this range. Yes, sir. And you're planning to shoot today? Yes, sir. At what distance? For the first time, something flickers across her face. Not quite a smile, more like the shadow of one gone before it fully forms. 800 meters, sir. The laughter that follows is immediate and loud. Hargrove actually slaps his knee. 800, right, okay. He looks at Kane, eyebrows raised. Sir, with all due respect, I'd like to see this, for educational purposes. I think we could all use a good laugh after the morning briefings. Kane's expression doesn't change, but there's a glint in his eye. Amusement, maybe, or something harder. By all means, Lieutenant, let's see what our mystery shooter can do. He gestures toward the firing line. Please show us your skills. Reese stands without using her hands, rising in one smooth motion from cross-legged to standing like water flowing upward. Her uniform is standard issue, slightly faded from washing. No name tape, no unit patch, nothing. She picks up the rifle, already reassembled. The officers blink. None of them saw her put it back together. But there it is, complete, functional, ready. She checks the chamber with a glance that takes less than a second and walks to lane 7. Ellis is already moving toward that lane before he consciously decides to. His boots carry him closer, angling for a better view. Something crawls up his spine. Recognition, maybe. Or warning. Reese settles into position at the bench, rifle resting on the sandbag support. Her posture is textbook perfect. Left hand under the forestock, right hand on the grip, body squared behind the weapon. She makes one small adjustment to her rear bag, shifting it a fraction of an inch. Then she goes still, completely still. The kind of stillness that comes from knowing how to disappear inside your own body. Hargrove leans against the tower railing, arms crossed. Somebody get her some extra ammo. She's going to need a lot of practice rounds to even get on paper at that distance. Does she even know where the safety is? Someone asks. Probably thinks the scope is a telescope, another voice chimes in. Kane stands with his hands clasped behind his back, watching. His face is unreadable now. All the amusement has drained away, replaced by something else. Weariness, perhaps, or the beginning of a very different kind of attention. Reese doesn't react to any of it. She just breathes. 444. Her finger stays outside the trigger guard. Range discipline. Perfect. Textbook. She reaches up, makes a minor adjustment to the scope's parallax dial. Another adjustment to the windage. Her movements small, precise, the kind of adjustments someone makes when they've done this thousands of times. Ellis is 10 feet away now, close enough to see her grip. The way her thumb rests along the receiver, the angle of her cheekbone against the stock. His heart starts beating faster. He knows this posture. He's seen it in exactly 2 places in his entire career. And both of those places are classified above his clearance level. "Whenever you're ready," Kane calls out, voice dripping with false courtesy. "We haven't got all day." Reese's breathing changes. 3 cycles. In hold out, in hold out, in hold out. On the 4th cycle at the bottom of the exhale, when her lungs are at their emptiest and her body is at its stillest, her finger moves to the trigger. The first shot breaks clean. The rifle barks once. Recoil absorbs smoothly into her shoulder. She doesn't flinch, doesn't pull her head off the scope, just works the bolt chambers. The next round settles. Breathes. Second shot. Same rhythm. Bolt. Chamber. Settle. Breathe. Fire. Third shot. Fourth shot. Fifth shot. A total elapsed time from first to fifth, 18 seconds. Ellis doesn't need to check the target monitor. He already knows. But he looks anyway, pulling the spotting scope to his eye and ranging downfield to the 800-meter mark. The target is a standard silhouette, black on white with concentric scoring rings. In the exact center where the highest value zone sits, there are 5 holes, 5 perfect holes, clustered so tight they almost overlap. Bullseye, every single one. He lowers the scope slowly, his hands are shaking, just slightly but enough that he has to clench them to make it stop. Hargrove has gone quiet. The other officers too. They're staring at the monitor screen mounted on the tower showing the automated camera feed of the target. The computer's scoring system displays the results in bright green numbers. 5 shots, 5 tens. Perfect score, 800 meters, 18 seconds. Kane's jaw tightens. He steps closer to the screen as if proximity will change what he's seeing. "Check the equipment," he says quietly. "Make sure the rangefinder is calibrated correctly." "Sir, it's calibrated every morning," Ellis replies, voice rough. "That's protocol. It's accurate." "Check it anyway." One of the junior officers jogs out to the 800-meter line, handheld laser rangefinder in hand. He takes 3 readings, then radios back. "Distance confirmed, sir. 800 meters plus or minus .5. Hargrove is staring at Reese now. She's sitting back from the rifle, hands resting loose in her lap, face still neutral, still calm. Like she just did something completely ordinary, like putting 5 rounds into a playing card at nearly half a mile in under 20 seconds is just another Tuesday afternoon. He clears his throat. "Lucky shots. Wind must have been favorable. Or maybe the scope is just really high end. What kind of glass are you running?" She doesn't answer, just looks at him with those storm water eyes. "I asked you a question," Hargrove says, voice sharper now. "Standard issue Leopold," she says. "Same as everyone else." No way someone shoots like that with standard gear." Hargrove looks at Kane. "Sir, I'd like to inspect her rifle. Make sure there's no unauthorized modifications. Laser sights, stabilizers, anything that might give an unfair advantage." Kane nods once. "Do it." Hargrove moves toward lane 7, hand outstretched. Reese watches him come but doesn't move to stop him. He picks up the rifle, turns it over in his hands, checks the scope, mounts the trigger, assembly the barrel. His face grows progressively tighter as he finds nothing. Nothing except a well-maintained, completely standard issue M110 with a Leopold Mark IV scope. No tricks, no modifications, just a rifle. He sets it down harder than necessary. "Fine, so you can shoot. Doesn't mean anything. One good string doesn't make you a sniper. Could have been luck, wind, anything." Ellis steps forward before he can stop himself. "Lieutenant, that wasn't luck." His voice carries across the range. Several heads turn. "Rangemaster Ellis, stand down." Kane interrupts, voice flat. "Thank you for your input." Ellis's mouth closes, but his eyes stay locked on Reese. She meets his gaze for just a moment. Something passes between them. Recognition, maybe, or warning. Then she looks away, turning her attention back to the rifle. Kane walks slowly to lane 7, boot heels clicking on concrete. He stops beside the bench, arms still crossed, studying her like she's a puzzle he needs to solve. "Where did you train?" "Various locations, sir." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I'm authorized to give, sir." Hargrove makes a disgusted noise. "You're not authorized. You don't have clearance. You're just some nobody who got lucky with a rifle." He leans in closer. "I've seen it before. People memorizing one trick to impress the brass. Probably practice this exact range, this exact setup, so you could show off." Reese doesn't respond, just starts breaking down the rifle again. Hands moving through the disassembly sequence without needing to look. Muscle memory. Kane's eyes narrow. "If you're really as good as that one string suggests, you'll have no problem demonstrating it again under more rigorous conditions." She pauses. Bolt carrier halfway out. What conditions, sir? Official qualification test, tomorrow morning, 0800. Different range, different distance, time limit. The works, the system. He leans down, voice dropping. If you pass, you get certified. If you fail, you're off my range permanently. And I'll make sure everyone knows you were just a one-hit wonder. Sir, with respect, I'm not trying to impress anyone. Then you won't mind proving it. Kane straightens. 0800. Bring your own gear. And if you're thinking about backing out, don't bother showing up at all. I don't have time for people who waste my resources. Hargrove grins. This is going to be fun. I'll make sure to bring a camera, for the records, of course. The officers drift away, voices rising again in speculation and jokes. Ellis stays where he is, 20 feet back, watching. Reese finishes disassembling the rifle, lays each piece in its foam-lined case with care, and closes the lid. She stands, picks up the case, and turns to leave. As she passes Ellis, she slows for just a second. Her eyes flick to his face, and in that brief moment, he sees something that makes his blood run cold. Not anger, not fear, just a kind of tired patience. Like someone who's been waiting a very long time for something inevitable to happen. Rangemaster, she says quietly. Just those two words. Then she's walking away, boots kicking up small clouds of dust. Ellis watches her go until she's out of sight. Then he pulls out his radio and switches to the encrypted command channel. His hand is shaking again. Control, this is Range Ellis. I need to flag something, off record. The response crackles back. Go ahead, Ellis. He hesitates, glancing around to make sure no one is in earshot. That shooter who just cleared 800 meters in under 20 seconds. 5 perfect 10s. I think, he stops, swallows. I think we need to run her prints, quietly. Because if she's who I think she is, we have a serious situation on our hands. Copy that. Send me her lane number and timestamp. We'll look into it. Ellis lowers the radio, staring at the empty lane 7. The sandbags still hold the impression of the rifle. The brass casings are still on the ground, gleaming in the late afternoon sun. 5 perfect shots, 18 seconds, 800 meters. He's been doing this job for 15 years. He's seen Olympic shooters, Spec Ops veterans, Marine Scout snipers with 20 years of experience. None of them, not one, has ever shot a group that tight at that distance under pressure. Not unless they were part of something very, very different. He thinks about the way she breathed. 4, 4, 4. He thinks about the grip, the posture, the way her eyes stayed flat and calm when 6 officers were tearing into her. The way she didn't rise to any of it, didn't defend herself, didn't explain. Just took it like someone who's been through worse. Much worse. Like someone who knows that words don't matter when the target is 800 meters downrange. Ellis picks up one of the spent casings, turns it over in his palm. Standard Lake City brass. Nothing special, nothing modified. Just a bullet that went exactly where it was supposed to go. He pockets it almost without thinking and heads back toward the control tower. His mind is racing now, connecting dots he doesn't want to connect. Dots that form a picture he really doesn't want to see. Because if she's who he thinks she is, then Admiral Kane just made the worst mistake of his career. And tomorrow morning, when she shows up for that qualification test, things are going to get very complicated, very fast. 150 miles northeast, the land opens up into high desert plateau. Scrub brush and pinon pine. Red rock formations catching the late afternoon light. A single-story ranch house sits at the end of a dirt road that hasn't seen pavement since it was graded 30 years ago. Colonel James Brennan stands at his fence line, wire cutters in hand, sweat soaking through his shirt despite the dry heat. 78 years old, back still straight, shoulders still broad. The kind of man age hasn't bent so much as compressed, distilling him down to essential elements. Wire, wood, work. His cell phone rings, he ignores it. It rings again and again. On the 4th ring, he sets down the cutters and pulls the phone from his pocket. Unknown number, but the area code is Fort Carson. Brennan. Sir, this is Rangemaster Ellis. We met about 6 years ago during the JSOC training rotation. I remember, Ellis. What do you need? Sir, I have a situation. Female shooter, late 20s, no visible rank or unit identification. Just shot 5 perfect 10s at 800 meters in under 20 seconds with standard gear. Brennan's hand tightens on the phone. Describe her. Dark hair, gray eyes, breathing pattern like she learned from... Ellis pauses. Sir, she breathes 444, combat breathing. And the way she holds the weapon, I've only seen that in 2 places and both of them are classified. Brennan finishes. His voice has gone flat. Careful. Did she give a name? No, sir. Walk on clearance. No ID logged. What did Admiral Kane do? Scheduled her for official qualification test tomorrow morning. 0800. I think he's planning to embarrass her, sir, in front of witnesses. Brennan closes his eyes. I'm on my way. Don't let her leave that base. Sir, I don't have authority to. Then find someone who does. Ellis, listen to me carefully. If she's who I think she is, you're not dealing with some enlisted shooter looking to prove a point. You're dealing with something else entirely. And if Kane pushes too hard, Brennan stops himself. Just keep eyes on her until I get there. He ends the call without waiting for a response. For a long moment, he stands there, phone in hand, staring at the horizon. The sun is dropping toward the mountains, painting everything in shades of copper and gold. Beautiful, indifferent. Then he turns and walks toward the house, moving faster than he has in months. Inside the ranch house is sparse, functional. No photographs on the walls, no decorations, just furniture, worn comfortable by decades of use. A life stripped down to necessities. Brennan goes straight to his office, a small room off the kitchen. He unlocks the filing cabinet with a key he keeps on a chain around his neck. Inside, hanging files marked with dates and locations. He pulls one from the back manila folder thick with documents. The label reads, Mackenzie Thomas, Brigadier General, deceased 2016. He opens it. Inside, service records, commendations, investigation reports, and photographs. Thomas Mackenzie in dress uniform. Thomas Mackenzie shaking hands with senators. Thomas Mackenzie standing beside a younger James Brennan. Both men grinning, arms around each other's shoulders somewhere in the Iraqi desert. Brothers. Not by blood, but by the kind of bond that goes deeper than genetics. Brennan flips through the file until he finds what he's looking for. A classified document stamped with clearances that haven't existed for 5 years. He shouldn't have this, but he kept it anyway. Investigation report, vehicle explosion. Arlington 5. A subject, Brigadier General Thomas Mackenzie. Date, September 12, 2016. Conclusion, mechanical failure. Case closed. Brennan's jaw tightens. He's read this report 100 times. Knows every word, every careful lie embedded in bureaucratic language. Mechanical failure. As if a man who spent 30 years in military intelligence just happened to die in a car explosion the night before he was scheduled to testify before the Senate Armed Services Committee about procurement fraud. As if that was coincidence. Brennan pulls another file, this one unmarked, inside a single page, heavily redacted, but enough remains visible to tell a story. Mackenzie Reese, Captain, JSOC Sniper Operations, confirmed eliminations. 847, call sign ghost status, KIA, Kabul, Afghanistan, August 2021, remains not recovered. He stares at that last line, remains not recovered. The military's polite way of saying the body was lost, buried in rubble, burned beyond recognition, scattered, or never existed in the first place. Brennan sets the file down and reaches for his laptop. Opens an encrypted browser, navigates to a database that officially doesn't exist. Enters credentials that should have been revoked when he retired 7 years ago. They still work. He searches Mackenzie Reese. The results populate slowly. Service record, training schools, deployment history, theater assignments, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, places the public doesn't know American forces operate. And then at the bottom, a note added just 3 hours ago. Alert, subject identified at Fort Carson, Colorado. Range access logged 1447 local time. Requesting guidance on protocol. Brennan reads it twice, then a third time. So she's alive. Tommy's daughter is alive, and she's just walked back into the light after 3 years of being dead. The question is why. Brennan's phone rings again. Different number this time. He recognizes it immediately. Talk to me, he says. The voice on the other end is careful, measured. You flagged a name. I need to know why. Because she's supposed to be dead, Colonel Vance. And dead people showing up at military installations asking to qualify on sniper ranges tends to indicate a problem. A pause. Are you still in contact with her? No, haven't seen her since the funeral. Her father's funeral, 2016. But you trained her. It's not a question. Brennan doesn't answer. Jim, I need to know if this is personal. If you're involved in whatever she's doing. I trained a 19-year-old girl how to shoot after her father was murdered. That's the extent of my involvement. What she did after that, what she became, that was her choice. 847 confirmed kills isn't a choice, it's a career. Then you know what she's capable of. And you know that if she's surfacing now after 3 years of being buried, she has a reason. A good reason. Another pause. Longer this time. Admiral Kane is scheduled to testify before Congress in 72 hours. Closed session. Regarding irregularities in military procurement contracts dating back to 1991. Brennan's blood goes cold. 1991. Desert Storm. The files he and Tommy lost when their helicopter went down. She's protecting him, Brennan says quietly. Someone's trying to stop Kane's testimony, and she's there to prevent it. That's our assessment too, which means she's on our side for now. For now. Jim, she's a ghost, literally. No official standing, no clearance, no chain of command. She's operating outside the system. That makes her unpredictable and potentially dangerous. She's Tommy's daughter. She won't do anything to compromise the mission. Tommy's been dead for 10 years. You don't know what she's become. Brennan stands already moving toward his bedroom phone tucked against his shoulder. Then I guess I better find out. I'm driving to Fort Carson tonight. I'll be there by midnight. Jim, don't interfere. Let her do whatever she's doing and stay out of the way. That's an order, I assume. That's a strong suggestion from someone who doesn't want to see you get hurt. She's not the girl you remember. 3 years in a Taliban cell changes people. I know what 3 years in hell does to people, Colonel. I also know that Tommy's daughter wouldn't surface unless the stakes were worth dying for. And if she's willing to die, I'm willing to stand beside her. Just like I should have stood beside her father. He ends the call before Vance can respond. In his bedroom, he pulls a duffel bag from the closet, packs quickly, changes of clothes, toiletries. And from the gun safe, hidden behind a false panel in the wall, a Sig Sauer M17 2 spare magazines and a cleaning kit. He hasn't carried a sidearm in 7 years. Looks like that's changing. Before he leaves, he stops in the kitchen and writes a note for his neighbor, who checks on the ranch when he's gone. Simple, direct, away for a few days, feed the horses. JB. Then he's in his truck, an old Ford F250 that's logged more miles than some people live years. The engine turns over with a diesel growl. Headlights cut through the gathering dusk. 150 miles to Fort Carson. 3 hours if he drives the speed limit. 2 if he doesn't. Brennan doesn't. Temporary quarter, Building 12. The room is small. Cinder block walls painted institutional beige. Single bed, metal locker, desk and chair bolted to the floor. Standard temporary billeting for transient personnel. No personal items visible except for a single duffel bag on the floor beside the bed. Reese sits at the desk, laptop open screen, casting blue-white light across her face. She's not looking at the screen, she's looking at her hands. At the faint scar tissue on her knuckles barely visible in the dim light. At the calluses on her fingertips from years of trigger time. At the line on her left ring finger where a piece of shrapnel once embedded itself deep enough to require field surgery. Each mark tells a story. Each scar is a chapter in a book most people will never read. Her sleeve is rolled up now. No reason to hide it when she's alone. The tattoo runs from mid-forearm to just below the elbow. Scope reticle. Crosshairs. The number 847 in clean, precise digits. Below that, smaller text, ghost, and dates 2018 to 2021. The ink is military grade, done by someone who knew what they were doing. It's not decorative. It's documentary. A record. Evidence. She traces the outline with one finger, feeling the slight raised texture where the ink sits under the skin. 847. Not all of them were bad people. Some were just unlucky. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong side of someone else's war. But they all had one thing in common. They were targets, designated, confirmed, eliminated. She did her job. Every single time. The laptop chimes softly. New email. She glances at the screen. No sender name, just an encrypted address that resolves to a string of alphanumeric characters. She opens it, enters the decryption key from memory, and reads. Situation developing as expected. Kane took the bait. Test scheduled for 0800. Hargrove is compromised. Family in custody. Brennan en route. ET midnight. Proceed to phase 2. Reveal only when forced. Good luck, Captain. She closes the email, runs a 3-pass wipe on the message, and shuts the laptop. Captain, it's been a long time since anyone called her that to her face. 3 years to be exact. 3 years since the bombing in Kabul. Since the explosion that was supposed to kill her. Since the 8 months in that basement room, zip-tied to a chair, answering the same questions over and over while men with blank faces did things she still dreams about when sleep won't come. They thought they broke her. They were wrong. You can't break someone who's already decided they're dead. You can hurt them. You can make them scream. but you can't take away the core of who they are if they've already let go of everything else. She survived by being empty, by being nothing, by waiting. And then when they finally got careless when they left her alone for just 15 minutes, because they thought she was too damaged to move, she killed 3 of them with a piece of rebar and walked out. Walked 12 miles through Taliban territory in the dark, barefoot, bleeding from a dozen places. Made it to a checkpoint manned by Pakistani border guards who almost shot her on sight. The SEALs who extracted her didn't ask questions. They just loaded her onto the helo, wrapped her in a shock blanket, and flew her out. The debrief came later. The medical treatment, the psych evals, the decision made somewhere far above her pay grade that Captain Reese McKenzie was too compromised to return to active duty, that her identity was burned, that for everyone's safety, including hers, she needed to disappear. So they disappeared her. New name, new records, new life. She became a ghost in truth, not just in call sign. And for 3 years, she lived quietly. Worked odd hours, stayed off the grid, tried to figure out who she was when she wasn't ghost anymore. But then the intel came through. The same network that killed her father, the same people who sold her location to the Taliban in Kabul. They were still operating, still embedded in the military infrastructure, still selling information, sabotaging operations, getting good people killed for profit. And one of their next targets was Admiral Victor Kane. Not because he was dirty, because he was about to testify before a closed congressional hearing about procurement fraud and intelligence leaks. Because he knew too much. Because 10 years ago, he and Brigadier General Thomas McKenzie had been partners in an investigation that almost exposed the whole network. An investigation that ended when Thomas McKenzie died in a car bombing outside his home in Arlington, Virginia. Reese was 19 years old when it happened. She watched the news footage of the burning wreckage, watched them carry her father out in pieces, watched her mother collapse at the funeral, watched the investigation get quietly shelved as mechanical failure despite all the evidence pointing the other way. She learned early that the system doesn't always protect you. Sometimes it protects the people hurting you. And sometimes if you want justice, you have to become something the system can't ignore. So she joined the military at 18, enlisted, worked her way through the ranks, proved herself over and over until they noticed, until JSOC came calling, until she went to the places where the real war happens away from cameras and oversight. And every confirmed kill she made, every target she eliminated, she checked against the list. The list of names connected to her father's death, 28 of them scattered across her 847. 28 people who thought they were safe, who thought they'd gotten away with it. They were wrong, but the network is bigger than 28 people. It's bigger than she realized. And now it's coming for Kane, which means it's time to stop hiding. Time to use the one thing they don't know. That she's still alive. That Ghost didn't die in Kabul. That she's here, watching, waiting for them to make a mistake. And tomorrow morning when Kane tries to humiliate her in front of witnesses, when Hargrove tries to catch her in some imagined fraud, when they push and prod and try to make her break, that's when they'll see. That's when the tattoo comes out. That's when the truth stops being hittable. Not because she wants recognition. Recognition is dangerous. But because Kane needs to know he's a target. Because the only way to stop what's coming is to flip the board and force everyone to see what's really happening. Reese rolls her sleeve back down, covering the tattoo. She lies on the bed, hands behind her head, staring at the ceiling. Sleep won't come easy tonight. It never does before an operation. But that's fine. She's used to operating on no sleep, used to functioning through pain, through fear, through everything the human body is supposed to shut down from. JSOC trained that out of her years ago. Tomorrow morning, 0800 hours, Kane and Hargrove are going to try to break her. They're going to fail, and in the process of failing, they're going to set off a chain reaction they don't understand. A chain reaction that ends with the network exposed, the guilty punished, and justice, real justice, not the sanitized version finally delivered. 847 confirmed kills, 28 of them for her father. The rest for her country, for her unit, for the mission. Tomorrow's not about adding to that count. Tomorrow's about making sure number 848 never happens. Making sure Kane lives long enough to testify. Making sure the people who killed Thomas McKenzie don't get to kill anyone else. She closes her eyes, breathes, 444. The rhythm that's kept her alive through firefights and interrogations and 3 years of hiding. The rhythm that will carry her through tomorrow, through whatever comes after. Because she's not just a shooter, she's not just a soldier, she's a promise made in blood and kept in silence. A promise that the guilty will answer, that the dead will be avenged, That the system, for all its flaws, can still be forced to do the right thing if you're willing to pay the price. And Reese McKenzie has been paying that price for 10 years, since the day her father died. Since the day she decided that some debts can only be settled one way, with patience, with precision, with the kind of cold, methodical determination that doesn't stop until the target is down and the mission is complete. Tomorrow morning, the mission continues. And Admiral Kane, whether he knows it or not, is about to become an asset, a protected asset, the kind that lives because someone else decided they were worth dying for. She hopes he's worth it. She really does. The ceiling fan turns slowly overhead, blades cutting through the still air. Outside, footsteps pass in the hallway. Someone laughs. Someone else shouts something inaudible. Normal sounds, normal life. The kind of life she used to have before she became this. Before the tattoo, before the list, before everything. Maybe when this is over, she can have that again. Maybe. But first tomorrow. First the test. First the reveal. First the moment when Admiral Victor Kane looks at her arm and realizes he's not dealing with some random enlisted shooter. He's dealing with the daughter of the man who saved his life 35 years ago. The woman who's about to save it again. Whether he wants her to or not. The truck's headlights carve through darkness on Highway 115-mile markers, flashing past like tracer rounds. James Brennan drives with both hands on the wheel, maintaining 15 miles over the limit. Enough to make time, not enough to attract Colorado State Patrol. The dashboard clock reads 23:47, 13 minutes to midnight. He's made drives like this before. Years ago when Fort Carson meant more than just memories. When he wore the uniform and carried the weight of decisions that turned young soldiers into weapons. Tommy McKenzie laughing in that Iraqi field hospital, high on morphine and relief. "You saved my ass today, Jim. I owe you one." "You don't owe me anything, brother." That's what we do. Tommy's funeral 10 years later. Rain falling like the sky itself grieving. Reese standing beside the flag-draped coffin, 19 years old, face carved from marble. Not crying, not breaking, just standing there like she'd turned to stone. Brennan approaching after the ceremony. "Reese, if you need anything, I need to know who killed him." Her voice flat. "Dead. Can you help me with that?" The investigation said mechanical failure. The investigation lied. She'd looked at him then, storm gray eyes holding something that made him flinch. "Can you help me or not?" He should have said no, should have walked away. Let the system handle it. Instead, 6 months later, he was teaching her to shoot at his ranch, teaching her fieldcraft, teaching her everything he knew about hunting men, because Tommy had been his brother. And if the system wouldn't give Tommy justice, maybe Tommy's daughter could take it herself. The highway sign appears Fort Carson, 15 miles. Brennan presses the accelerator harder. Midnight comes and goes. The gate guard checks his retired military ID, waves him through without comment. The base at this hour is quiet, most personnel asleep. Security lights cast orange pools across empty roads. Brennan knows where to find her. Temporary quarters. Building 12. Same building they always use for transient personnel with clearances too high to bunk with regular soldiers. He parks 3 spaces from the entrance, kills the engine, sits in the darkness gathering himself. His phone vibrates. Text message from a number he recognizes. "Colonel Vance, G2 Intelligence, call me. Now, secure line." Brennan climbs out dials as he walks toward the building. Vance answers on the first ring. "Jim, I need to know if this is personal, if you're involved in whatever she's doing. I trained a 19-year-old girl how to shoot after her father was murdered. That's the extent of my involvement. What she did after that, what she became, that was her choice. 847 confirmed kills isn't a choice, Jim. It's a career, a bloody one." "What do you want, Colonel?" A pause. When Vance speaks again, his voice is different. Careful. "Your son, Marcus. He hasn't checked in for 3 years. CIA thinks he's gone dark. Last known assignment was Afghanistan. 2021. Same time and place Reese McKenzie was captured. On it, Brennan's blood turns to ice water. "Marcus has nothing to do with this." "Are you sure? Because the timeline matches perfectly. She gets ambushed, captured, tortured for 8 months. And your son disappears from all official records around the same time. That's one hell of a coincidence." "My son is CIA, deep cover operations. Of course he's off-grid. Or he's something else, something you don't want to see." Vance's voice softens. "Jim, I'm not accusing, I'm warning. If Marcus is involved with the network, if he's connected to what happened to Mackenzie, you need to prepare yourself." "For what?" for the possibility that your son is the enemy, and Reese McKenzie is the weapon aimed at him. The line goes dead. Brennan stands in the parking lot, phone in hand, mind racing. Marcus, his son, recruited to CIA in 1998, fresh out of Yale. Brilliant, ruthless, everything Brennan had trained him to be, and absent from Brennan's life for the last 5 years. No calls, no visits, just occasional encrypted messages confirming he was alive and operational. Could Marcus be part of the network? Could his own son have been involved in torturing Tommy's daughter? The thought makes him physically sick, but he pushes it down, buries it, because right now Reese needs him, and he won't fail her the way he failed her father. He enters Building 12. The hallway smells like every military building he's ever been in. Floor wax and disinfectant and the accumulated scent of thousands of people passing through. He stops outside room 127, raises his hand to knock. The door opens before his knuckles touch wood. Reese stands in the doorway, changed into civilian clothes, jeans and a plain gray t-shirt, hair down, falling past her shoulders. She looks younger like this, almost like the girl he remembers. Almost. But her eyes are older, much older. Colonel Brennan, her voice neutral. I wondered when you'd show up. You knew I was coming. Ellis called someone, that someone called someone else. Chain reaction. You're predictable that way. She steps back, gesturing him inside. Come in before someone sees you. The room is exactly as he expected. Spartan, functional. The laptop on the desk is closed. The duffel bag by the bed packed and ready, always ready to run. Brennan closes the door. For a moment, they just look at each other. 10 years of silence between them. 10 years of her becoming something he helped create, but never fully understood. You look good, he says finally. For someone who's supposed to be dead. You look old. For someone who's supposed to be retired. Despite everything, he almost smiles. Fair enough. She moves to the desk, leans against it, arms crossed. Why are you here, Colonel? Because a range master called me about a shooter who breathes like JSOC and shoots like Ghost. And Ghost has been dead for 3 years. So either we have a very talented impersonator or I need to talk to Tommy's daughter about why she just walked back into the light. Reese doesn't answer immediately. She's studying him, weighing something. Admiral Kane testifies before Congress in 72 hours about procurement fraud and intelligence leaks dating back to 1991. The same investigation you and my father started in Desert Storm. Brennan's chest tightens. How do you know about that? Because I've spent 10 years tracking the network that killed him. Every thread leads back to 1991, to weapons shipments that went missing, to money that disappeared, and to files that burned when your helicopter went down. We lost everything in that crash. No evidence, no case. You lost the paperwork, but the network remembered. When my father picked up the investigation in 2015, when he started asking the same questions, they killed him. Her voice hardens, just like they tried to kill me. Brennan sits heavily in the desk chair. Kabul, they set you up. Ambush, perfectly coordinated. Taliban knew exactly where I'd be, exactly when. Someone sold my location. Someone inside our command structure. She pauses. They wanted to know what I knew about my father's investigation. What he'd told me before he died. Jesus, Reese, 8 months. I didn't tell them anything. Not because I'm strong, because I genuinely didn't know enough. Dad kept me clean. Smart man, my father. He wanted to protect you. He should have trusted me. I could have helped. The anger flickers briefly. Instead, he died alone and I spent 8 years hunting shadows. Brennan rubs his face. So you're here to protect Kane. Make sure he testifies. That's part of it. What's the other part? She pushes off the desk. The network knows I'm alive now, or they will after tomorrow. When Kane recognizes Ghost, it'll send a signal. They'll panic, make mistakes, and when they do, I'll be ready. You're using yourself as bait. I'm forcing them into the open. Not much difference from where I'm sitting. Brennan stands. Reese, you can't do this alone. I'm not alone. I have support. You need me. She meets his eyes. Something in her expression softens fractionally. Colonel, you're 78 years old, retired 7 years. I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm volunteering. He steps closer. Tommy was my brother. You're his daughter. I've been sitting on that ranch for 7 years feeling useless. If you're going to war with the people who killed him, then I'm going with you. Reese is quiet for a long moment, then nods once. Okay, but you follow my lead. This is my operation. Understood, Captain. The use of her rank makes her blink. I haven't been captain for 3 years. You'll always be captain to me, just like Tommy will always be my commanding officer. Brennan moves toward the door. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be long. Colonel, her voice stops him. Thank you for coming, for everything. He looks back. Your father taught you why to fight. I taught you how. But what you became the soldier you are, that's all you. He'd be proud. He leaves before she can respond. In the hallway, he leans against the wall. His hands shake slightly. Not from fear, from something else. Purpose, maybe. For the first time in 7 years, he has a mission. He walks to his truck, drives to the visiting officer's quarters, gets a room, doesn't sleep, just lies on the bed thinking about tomorrow. About the girl who became Ghost, and about the phone call from Vance, about Marcus, his son, who might be the enemy. Dawn breaks cold and clear over Fort Carson. The qualification range sits empty waiting. Camera systems powered on. Target arrays confirmed. Rangemaster Ellis arrived at 0600 to personally inspect every piece of equipment. By 0730, the crowd starts gathering. Off-duty personnel, retired military, even civilians with base access. Everyone wants to see the mystery shooter either fail or perform another miracle. Lieutenant Dylan Hargrove arrives at 0745. He looks like he hasn't slept. Uniform crisp, boots polished but eyes red-rimmed. Hollow. His phone vibrates. Text message. The woman fails today. Whatever it takes, your family depends on it. He deletes it, hands shaking. Admiral Kane arrives at 0755. 5 officers with him. They take positions near the control tower. At 0758, Colonel James Brennan walks onto the range. Civilian clothes, but there's no mistaking who he is, the bearing, the way he moves, that aura of command that never fades. Ellis sees him first, eyes widening slightly. Kane sees him next. Colonel Brennan, I didn't know you were in the area. Admiral, Brennan shakes his hand. Heard there was a qualification test today. Thought I'd observe. Of course. May I ask what brings you to Fort Carson? Personal interest in the shooter. I knew her father. Kane's confusion deepens. Her father. Before Brennan can answer, the crowd noise changes. Reese has arrived. She walks through the gate at exactly 0800. Same plain uniform, no rank. Rifle case in hand. She doesn't acknowledge the crowd, just walks to lane 3. Hargrove intercepts her. Equipment inspection, regulations. Reese looks at him, really looks at him. And in her eyes, Hargrove sees something that makes his stomach drop. She knows. Inspect away, Lieutenant, she says quietly. He opens the case, checks everything. The rifle is perfect. Standard issue. No violations. He closes the case. You're cleared. Thank you, Lieutenant. Her voice drops. How old is Emma? 6. Hargrove goes rigid. How do you? And Owen is 8. Your wife Claire picks them up from school at 15:15, except for the last 6 weeks. Color drains from his face. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. After this test, we're going to have a conversation about the people holding them. But first, I need you to do your job. Run this test fairly. Can you do that? Hargrove stares at her. A dozen emotions cross his face. Finally, he nods. Barely perceptible. Reese picks up the case, walks to lane 3. Kane steps forward. We're here to conduct an official marksmanship qualification. 1,000 meters variable win, 3 attempts of 5 shots each. Minimum score 45 out of 50 to pass. He looks at Reese. Shooter, state your name for the record. She straightens. Reese Mackenzie. I'm here to qualify. Behind Kane, Brennan's breath catches. Her real name. No alias. The trap is set. You may begin when ready. Reese settles into position. The ritual begins. Adjustments. Breathing. 4-4-4. The first shot breaks clean. Downrange, the target camera shows dead center. 10 points. Second shot, same result. Third, fourth, fifth. Perfect 50. First attempt complete. Kane's jaw tightens. Move to lane 5. Hargrove steps forward. Sir, that's not protocol. I'm invoking safety officer discretion. Different wind exposure. If she's as good as she claims, it won't matter. Ellis opens his mouth to protest. Brennan catches his eye, shakes his head. Let it play out. Reese moves to lane 5 without complaint. Sets up again. Same breathing. 5 shots. 5 more perfect 10s. 100 out of 100. Complete silence from the crowd. This isn't luck. This is something else. Kane steps closer, face pale. Third attempt, lane 7. Sun in her eyes. Admiral, Ellis starts. That's an order. Reese is already moving. Lane 7 faces east. Morning sun pours straight into the position, blinding. She sets up. Doesn't ask for adjustment time. Just breathes. 4-4-4, first shot, center mass, second, third, fourth, each one perfect. She's lining up the fifth when Hargrove makes his move. He rushes forward ostensibly to check something, but his real target is Reese. His orders were clear. Sabotage her. His hand reaches for her arm, intending to jostle, throw off the shot. His fingers close around her left forearm. He pulls. The sleeve rides up. The tattoo becomes visible. Scope reticle. Crosshairs. The number 847 in black ink. Below that ghost. Below that 2018 to 2021. At the bottom, JSOC insignia. Hargrove freezes, hand still gripping her arm, brain trying to process. 847. Ghost. JSOC. The crowd erupts. Those close enough pointing, shouting. News spreading like wildfire. Kane pushes through, stares at the tattoo, at the number, at the call sign, and suddenly he's not in Colorado anymore. He's in the Hindu Kush Mountains, Afghanistan 2020. Pinned down, 12 SEALs trapped, ammunition low. The radio crackling. Badger 3, this is Ghost. I have eyes on your position. 30 plus hostiles. Stay down. I'm going to work. 6 minutes of the most precise long-range marksmanship he'd ever witnessed. Targets dropping, one after another. His team extracted safely. 0 casualties. When they reached the ridge where the sniper had been, she was gone. Just spent casings and a note weighted with a rock. Names don't matter. Stay alive. Ghost. A year later, the notification. Captain J, SOC. Sniper Operations, KIA in Kabul. Ghost was dead, except she's standing right here. Alive. Behind Kane, Brennan pushes through. Admiral Kane, meet Captain Reese McKenzie. JSOC Sniper Operations 2018 through 2021, 847 confirmed eliminations. Kane's voice comes out hoarse. Ghost, you're Ghost. Yes, sir. But you died. Kabul. The reports said what they needed to say. I was burned. Identity compromised. They declared me KIA for operational security. Brennan steps forward. Admiral, we need to talk. Private, right now. Kane looks at him, at Reese, at the tattoo still visible on her arm. Yes, I think we do. Kane leads them to a secure room in the range control building, soundproofed, no windows. Inside, just the 4 of them. Kane, Reese, Brennan, and Ellis, who followed because this is his range. Kane stands with his back to them, processing, then turns. Captain McKenzie, that's your real name. Yes, sir. McKenzie. His face shifts. Thomas McKenzie, Brigadier General. He was your father. Yes, sir. Kane sits heavily. Tommy. God, we worked together in the 90s, Desert Storm. He was investigating supply chain irregularities. I was his Navy liaison. I know. You and my father were partners building a case. Then his helicopter went down and all evidence was lost. Kane's eyes narrow. How do you know about that? That investigation was classified. Because 25 years later, my father picked up the same investigation, started asking the same questions. Her voice hardens. And the night before he was scheduled to testify, someone planted a bomb under his car. The room goes silent. Kane's face drains of color. The car bombing, Arlington, 2016. That was Tommy. Brigadier General Thomas McKenzie, killed September 12, 2016. Ruled mechanical failure despite evidence of explosive residue. Case closed within 72 hours. Jesus Christ. Reese pulls a folder from her jacket, sets it on the table, opens it, inside photographs. Surveillance images. A black sedan outside Kane's housing. The same model that was outside her father's house the night before he died. You're scheduled to testify before Congress in 72 hours. Closed session about irregularities in military procurement dating back to 1991. The same contracts you and my father investigated. How do you know about my testimony? Because I've been tracking this network for 10 years. 28 of my 847 kills were network members. They tried to kill me in Kabul to stop the investigation. She pushes another photo across. A man's face, hard features, cold eyes. Recognize him. Kane studies it, shakes his head. That's the man who coordinated the Kabul ambush. Who's been running the network's military operations for 15 years. Codenamed Tower 4, and he's planning to kill you before you can testify. Brennan speaks. Admiral, everything she's telling you is true. Tommy was murdered, the investigation buried. Now they're coming for you because you're the only other person who knows what he knew. Kane looks at the photos, at Reese, at Brennan. Why now? Why surface after 3 years? Because I'm out of time. The network knows I survived Kabul. Your testimony accelerated everything. They're desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. I need them to make one big enough that I can take them all down. By using yourself as bait. By forcing them to act in the open. By making them so afraid of what I know and what you're going to say that they have to move against both of us simultaneously. And when they do, we'll be ready. A knock interrupts. Ellis opens the door. Hargrove stands outside, face pale, hands shaking. Sir, I need to speak with Captain Mackenzie, urgent. Reese nods. Let him in. Hargrove enters. The door closes. For a moment, he just stands there. Then his knees buckle and he drops to the floor, kneeling. Captain Mackenzie. His voice breaks. I sabotaged you. I tried to make you fail. I've been working against Admiral Kane for 6 weeks because they have your family, Claire, Owen, and Emma. Warehouse on the South Industrial Perimeter. Held 6 weeks with promises of release if you cooperate. Hargrove stares at her. How do you know? Because I've been watching you, and the network watching you. I know where they're being held, how many guards, the rotation schedule, and I know that in 37 minutes they're being moved to a secondary location where we'll lose them. She pulls him to his feet. Lieutenant Dylan Hargrove, you've been operating under duress, coerced into actions against your oath. But right now you get a choice. Keep following their orders and hope they keep promises. Or help me get your family back and bring down the people holding them. You can get them back, barely a whisper. You can save them. I can, but you have to trust me and tell me everything. Right now, every instruction, every contact, everything. Hargrove doesn't hesitate. He talks. For 10 minutes, he lays out everything. 6 weeks of coercion and fear and impossible choices. Messages from unknown numbers. Instructions to report Kane's movements. Orders to sabotage anyone showing interest in the Admiral. Yesterday's instruction to make the mystery shooter fail. Today's instruction to ensure she never qualifies. The final message received this morning: if she passes, your wife dies first. Then the children. Reese listens, face impassive, hands clenched into fists. When he finishes, she turns to Kane. Admiral, I need authorization to conduct hostage rescue on U.S. soil within base perimeter. Now, sir. Kane doesn't hesitate. You have it. What else? I need Lieutenant Hargrove with me. I need Colonel Brennan. And I need Rangemaster Ellis to pull security footage from the last 3 months. Every vehicle entering the industrial area between 0200 and 0400. The person running this network is on base. High rank. Trusted. Operating in plain sight. Ellis is already moving. I'll get everything we have. Admiral, you stay here, surrounded by witnesses. The network won't move while there's a crowd. But when I extract Hargrove's family, they'll panic. We'll have maybe 12 hours to neutralize them before they scatter. She moves toward the door. Brennan follows. Captain, I'm going with you. Colonel, you're 78. And I've been waiting 35 years to finish what Tommy and I started. You lead. I'll provide overwatch, non-negotiable. Reese looks at him, at the determination in his eyes, at the old soldier who refuses to sit on the sidelines while his brother's daughter goes to war. Okay, but you follow my orders. No heroics. Understood, Captain. She turns to Hargrove. Lieutenant, you're driving. You know the route. You get us there, get your family out, help us burn this network down. Are you with me? Hargrove straightens. Hope enters his eyes for the first time in 6 weeks. Yes, ma'am, all the way. They're moving when Kane's voice stops them. Captain Mackenzie? She turns. Kane comes to attention, salutes. Your father was my friend, my partner. I failed him. I stayed silent when he died because I was afraid, because I had a wife and children to protect. His voice roughens. I won't fail his daughter. You bring those people home. Expose this network, and I'll testify to everything no matter the cost. That's my promise to you and to Tommy's memory. Reese returns the salute. Thank you, sir. That's all he wanted. The truth. Then she's through the door. Brennan and Hargrove behind her. Ellis watches them go. Turns to Kane. Sir, you know what she's about to do is completely outside authorized protocol. Yes. If it goes wrong, if there are casualties, you'll be held responsible. Yes. And you're authorizing it anyway. Kane looks at him. 35 years ago, Thomas Mackenzie saved my life in Iraq. 10 years ago, someone murdered him for trying to tell the truth. 6 years ago, his daughter saved my team in Afghanistan. 3 years ago, the same people tried to murder her. He pauses. I've been a coward for too long. If there's even a chance to make this right, I'm taking it. Consequences be damned. Ellis nods slowly. Then I better make sure that security footage is comprehensive, just in case we need evidence later. Good man. Ellis heads for the control tower. Kane sits alone in the secure room, surrounded by photographs of a network operating for 35 years. A network that killed his friend, targeted his friend's daughter, now targeting him. And for the first time in 10 years, he feels something other than guilt. He feels purpose. The mission isn't over. It's just beginning. Outside, Reese climbs into Hargrove's vehicle. Brennan takes passenger seat, his M17 tucked into a shoulder holster he hasn't worn in 7 years. Hargrove starts the engine. Where to, Captain? Reese checks her watch. Warehouse 3 South Perimeter. 33 minutes before they move the hostages. She pauses. And Lieutenant, when we get your family back, when this is over, you'll have a choice. Let the guilt eat you alive, or use what happened to help others facing impossible situations. Your father would want you to choose the second option. Hargrove's hands tighten on the wheel. You knew my father, Brennan answers. Trained him. Hell of a soldier. Hell of a man. You come from good people, Lieutenant. Don't forget that. They pull out of the parking lot. Behind them, the crowd at the qualification range buzzes with confusion and speculation about Ghost's return. Ahead of them, 3 innocent people wait in a warehouse not knowing rescue is coming. And somewhere on base, the person running the network receives a message. Ghost is alive. Mackenzie's daughter, she knows everything. The response comes within seconds. Kill them all. The hostages, Kane, Brennan, everyone, burn it down. The war has begun. And Captain Reese Mackenzie, who has spent 10 years hunting in the shadows, is finally stepping into the light. Not as Ghost, not as a weapon, but as Thomas Mackenzie's daughter, finishing what her father started, no matter the cost. The warehouse district sits at Fort Carson's southern edge, where active facilities transition to storage and logistics. Chain link fencing, corrugated metal buildings, roads that see more tumbleweeds than traffic. Hargrove's vehicle rolls to a stop 3 blocks from the target. Engine idling, dashboard clock reads 0852, 8 minutes until hostages are moved. Reese is already out moving to the trunk. She pulls out a tactical pack. Inside, suppressed Sig Sauer spare magazines, flex cuffs, medical kit. Everything needed for quick extraction. Brennan climbs out slower joints, protesting. But his hands are steady, lifting his M110 from the back seat. Older model, same platform he qualified on 20 years ago. Muscle memory, doesn't forget. Lieutenant, you stay with the vehicle, Reese says. Engine running. When we come out with your family, you drive. Fast and direct to base hospital. Medical personnel standing by. I should go in. No, your job is extraction. Get them to safety. Let us handle the rest. Hargrove's jaw works, but he nods. Yes, ma'am. Reese pulls out a tablet, displays thermal imaging. The feed is real-time courtesy of a drone so small and quiet, it's invisible from ground level. 2 guards outside southeast corner, 3 inside main floor, 5 heat signatures, northwest corner, 3 adults, 2 children. That's your family plus 1 unknown. Unknown, Hargrove leans closer. Adult female, 5'6" approximately. Been there 2 weeks according to movement patterns. Reese zooms in. My guess, journalist or investigator, someone else who got too close. Brennan studies the layout. Approach. You take overwatch position on that ridge 800 meters northeast. Elevation gives clear sight lines to both entrances. I go in through south loading dock. Ellis and his team secure perimeter, make sure no one gets out. We don't want getting out. What about the guards inside? Non-lethal if possible. Priority is hostages. They come out alive, whatever it takes. She keys her radio. Ellis, you in position. Response crackles back. Affirmative. 2 operators with me, north and west sides covered. Colonel Brennan taking northeast ridge for overwatch. You have eyes on the 2 guards outside. Confirmed, both smoking weapons slung, not expecting trouble. Good, on my mark we move. Reese checks her watch. 5 minutes. Brennan is already heading for the ridge, moving with careful economy of an old soldier who knows his limitations but refuses to acknowledge them. His knees hurt. His back hurts. Everything hurts. He's never felt more alive. The ridge is natural red rock and scrub brush. He settles behind a boulder rifle resting on stone. The warehouse sits below like a target on a range. Distance, 812 meters. Wind 6 miles per hour from west. Temperature rising, thermal currents starting to swirl. He's made harder shots. Not many, but some. His radio earpiece crackles. Reese's voice calm and professional. Colonel confirm, visual on guards. Brennan scans through his scope. Two men late 20s civilian clothes rifles, slung casual. One laughing at something on his phone. Confirmed, two targets, southeast corner, currently distracted. On my mark, you drop left. I'll take right. Suppress shots, simultaneous. Roger that. Reese is moving now using building shadows for concealment. She's fast, economical, no wasted motion. Watching her move, Brennan sees Tommy in every step. Same efficiency, same predator grace. She reaches position 30 meters from guards, settles, breathes. Her voice whispers over radio. 3, 2, 1, mark. Two suppressed shots crack in near-perfect unison. Both guards drop like puppets with cut strings. Tranquilizer rounds fast-acting. They'll wake in custody with headaches and no memory. Reese is already moving. Reaches the loading dock door. Picks the lock in under 15 seconds. Old training never forgotten. She's inside. The warehouse interior is dim sunlight filtering through dirty windows high above. Stacks of supply crates create corridors and blind corners. Smell of dust and motor oil and something else. Fear. The accumulated scent of people held against their will. 3 guards on main floor according to thermal. Reese moves silent, staying low. Clears first corridor. Empty. Second corridor. Movement ahead. One guard standing with back to her radio in hand. He's talking to someone, voice low. Yeah, we're moving them in 5 minutes. Van should be here any bomb. Reese closes distance in 3 strides. Arm around his throat, other hand controlling his weapon. He struggles maybe 2 seconds before the tranquilizer dart finds his neck. She lowers him quietly to concrete. Flex cuffs his wrists and ankles. 2 more to go. Radio on his belt crackles. Henderson, you there, boss, wants confirmation on timeline. Reese doesn't answer, keeps moving. The northwest corner, where hostages are held, is separated from main warehouse by makeshift wall of plywood and chain link. Not secure, just enough to create a pen. Through gaps in plywood, she can see them. Claire Hargrove sitting on floor arms around 2 children. Owen and Emma both trying to be brave, but terror written clear on faces. Beside them, a woman Reese doesn't recognize. 45 dark hair, recording equipment, confiscated and piled in corner. Journalist, definitely. The other 2 guards positioned outside the pen. One watching hostages, other pacing near main door. Reese keys radio. Ellis, I need distraction. Something loud north side. Copy. Stand by. 10 seconds later, crash of metal on metal echoes through warehouse. Ellis throwing something heavy against exterior wall. Both guards turn toward noise. Go check it out, one says. You check it out. I'm not leaving hostages. For Christ's sake. They're still arguing when Reese moves. 2 shots, 2 tranquilizer darts. Both guards down in under 3 seconds. She's through chain link and inside pen before they hit ground. Claire sees her first, eyes going wide. Pulling children closer, not sure if this is rescue or something worse. Claire Hargrove. Reese's voice quiet but authoritative. I'm Captain Reese Mackenzie. Your husband sent me. We're getting you out. Dylan sent you, Claire's voice breaks. Where is he? Is he? He's outside 3 blocks away, waiting with vehicle. Are any of you hurt? No, scared but not hurt. Claire looks at her children. Are we really leaving? Right now. Reese turns to journalist. And you are Catherine Aldridge, investigative journalist. I've been tracking the network 8 months. They grabbed me 2 weeks ago. You have evidence. Everything. Names, accounts, transactions. It's all on drives they took when they captured me. Catherine points to pile of equipment. If we can recover those, we will. But first we move. Stay close, stay quiet, follow my lead. Reese leads them out of pen past unconscious guards. Claire has Emma in arms, Owen holding tight to mother's hand. Catherine moves like someone who's been waiting for this moment, ready to run. They're halfway to loading dock when radio on one of downed guards crackles. Henderson, Alvarez, respond. We have situation. Unknown vehicle approaching perimeter. Reese freezes. Ellis, you have company. Negative on visual. Warehouse access says road clear, which means someone else is coming. Someone the network called as backup. Change of plans. Double time to exit. Now. They move faster. Claire struggling with Emma's weight, Owen doing his best to keep up, Catherine helping where she can. They reach loading dock, sunlight and fresh air, almost there. That's when black SUV comes around corner, 4 men inside, armed, professional. Not warehouse guards playing soldier, actual operators. Vehicle screeches to halt. Doors open. Brennan's voice over radio urgent. Reese, you have 4 hostiles exiting vehicle south side, armed and moving toward your position. Copy. Get the hostages to Hargrove. I'll handle this. Reese, that's an order, Colonel. She pushes Claire toward loading dock exit. Run. 3 blocks north, Silver Ford Explorer. Your husband is waiting. Go. Claire hesitates only a second. Then she's running, children and Catherine with her. Reese turns to face approaching operators. They fan out. Professional spacing, weapons up. They know what they're doing. Lead operative speaks. Captain Mackenzie, you're coming with us. That's not happening. We have orders. Tower 4 wants to talk to you. At mention of Tower 4, something cold settles in Reese's chest. The man who interrogated her, who ordered her torture, who's been hunting her 3 years. Tower 4 can come get me himself if he's that interested. He will, after we deliver you. Operative gestures with rifle. Put down your weapon, hands visible. We can do this easy or hard. From the ridge, Brennan watches the scene unfold. 4 armed men, 1 woman. Bad odds. His scope settles on lead operative. 800 meters. Wind picking up now, thermal currents making air shimmer. He's 78 years old. His eyes aren't what they were. Hands shake slightly from decades of accumulated wear. But he's James Brennan, and James Brennan doesn't miss when it matters. Reese, he says quietly into radio, when I shoot you move. Understood. Negative, Colonel. Stand down, my sin man, and I can handle so, and that wasn't a request, Captain. I'm taking the shot. He breathes. 444, same pattern he taught her all those years ago. Scope settles, lead operative. Center mass, squeeze, rifle barks, operative drops clutching shoulder. Non-lethal, but incapacitating. The other 3 spin trying to locate shooter. That's when Reese moves. She's on second operative before he can react. Disarms him in 2 moves, uses his body as shield against third's line of fire. 4th operative has better positioning, raises weapon. Brennan's second shot takes him in leg. He goes down hard. 3rd operative is firing now, suppressive bursts forcing Reese to take cover behind supply crates. Ellis and his team move in from perimeter. 3 more operators against 1. Odds shift fast. It's over in 30 seconds. All 4 network operatives down. Flex cuffed. Disarmed. Reese is breathing hard, adrenaline spiking. But unharmed. Status, Brennan's voice over radio. Clear. Hostiles secured. Hostages en route to Hargrove. Good, because you have more company. 2 more vehicles approaching from east. Reese curses. Network is throwing everything at this. They're desperate. She keys radio. Ellis, get those men into custody. Take them to base brig, maximum security. What about you, Wetby? I'm finishing this. She runs back inside warehouse. Finds Catherine's equipment, including drives with evidence. Grabs them along with anything else that looks relevant. Outside, sound of vehicles getting closer. She exits through north side. Brennan is climbing down from ridge, moving faster than a 78-year-old should be able to. They meet at fence line. 2 more vehicles, Brennan confirms. 6 men total. This isn't just recovery. They're trying to bury evidence. Then we make sure they fail. Reese hands him drives. Get these to Kane. Everything Catherine collected, everything the network tried to hide. Make sure it gets to the right people. What are you going to do? Buy you time. Before he can argue, she's moving. Running toward approaching vehicles. Brennan watches her go, every instinct screaming to follow. But he has orders. Get the evidence to safety. He runs the other direction, clutching the drives that could bring down an entire network. Reese cuts through alley between warehouses. Vehicles close now, engines loud in quiet industrial area. She finds position with good sight lines and limited exposure. 2 SUVs, 6 men climbing out. All armed, all professional. They're not here for a fight. They're here for massacre. Burn evidence, kill witnesses, make it look like training accident or gang violence or anything except what it really is. Network in full panic mode. One of the men has radio. He's talking to someone, voice urgent. Yes, sir. We're at warehouse now. Place is clear. Guards down, hostages gone. The woman. He pauses, listening. Understood. We'll find her. He lowers radio, addresses others. Tower 4 says no survivors. Anyone associated with this operation gets neutralized. Find Mackenzie, find Brennan, find hostages. Kill them all. Reese's blood runs cold. Tower 4 isn't just protecting network anymore. He's trying to erase it. Kill everyone who knows anything, including his own people. Scorched earth strategy. She needs to move. Needs to warn everyone. But 6 armed operatives stand between her and any chance of escape. She keys radio. "Colonel Brennan, they're going lethal. Orders from Tower 4, no survivors." Brennan's voice comes back tight. "I'm halfway to Kane's position with evidence. Can you evade?" "Negative. They're between me and any extraction point." A pause, then, "I'm coming back." "No, complete the mission. Get that evidence to Kane. That's more important than, you're Tommy's daughter. I'm not leaving you." When Colonel's transmission cuts off, Reese realizes why a second later, the 6 operatives have split up. 3 heading into warehouse, 3 spreading out to search perimeter. One of them is 30 feet from her position and closing. She can't move without being seen. Can't shoot without alerting others. Can't do anything except wait and hope he doesn't look in right direction. He does. Their eyes meet. For one frozen second, neither moves. Then he's raising weapon mouth opening to shout warning. Reese is faster. Her suppressed pistol coughs once. Operative drops hand clutching thigh. Non-lethal, but loud enough that he's screaming. The other 5 converge on her position. She runs. Behind her, gunfire erupts. Not suppressed. Whistled automatic, bullets chewing into concrete and metal ricochets screaming through air. Reese vaults fence sprints across open ground. More gunfire. Something tugs at her sleeve. Too close. She reaches another warehouse, slams through side door, keeps moving. Inside is darkness and old machinery. Places to hide. Places to ambush. But she's 1 against 5 now, and they're professional, coordinated, relentless. She needs an advantage. Her radio crackles. Not Brennan, someone else. "Captain Mackenzie?" The voice is smooth, cultured, cold. "This is Tower 4. I believe we have unfinished business." Her breath catches. "The man who tortured her. Who's been hunting her 3 years. He's here." "I'm impressed you survived Kabul." Tower 4 continues. "Most people break after first month. You lasted 8. Admirable. And I must say, watching you work today reminds me why I chose to test you rather than simply kill you. You're exceptional." "Where are you?" Her voice steady despite adrenaline flooding system. "Nearby. Watching. Waiting to see if you're still the weapon I remember, or if 3 years of hiding made you soft. Why don't you come find out?" A chuckle. "In time. First, I want to see how you handle my team. Think of it as final examination. Pass, and perhaps we can negotiate terms. Fail and, well, you know what failure means." He pauses. "Oh, and Captain, I tested you for 8 months in Kabul. Just like my father tested recruits for 30 years. He taught me well. Pity he doesn't know what I've become." Reese freezes. "Your father, Colonel James Brennan, legendary JSOC trainer. My old man, and the reason you're still alive, he made me promise never to kill Tommy Mackenzie's daughter. Just break her." There's a difference. Radio goes silent. Reese stands in darkness, mind racing. Marcus Brennan. Tower 4 is Marcus Brennan. Brennan's son. The man who tortured her is the son of the man who trained her. Outside, she can hear the operatives entering warehouse, spreading out, searching methodically. 5 against 1. The warehouse is 3 stories of rusted metal and forgotten machinery. Catwalks crisscross overhead. Loading equipment sits dormant. Shadows pool in every corner. Reese climbs to 2nd level using external ladder, gets elevation, gets perspective. Below, 5 operatives move in standard search pattern, 2 clearing ground floor systematically, 3 heading for stairs to check upper levels. She has maybe 90 seconds before they find her. She uses 60 of them setting trap. Old hydraulic line still pressurized. She punctures it carefully, lets fluid leak across catwalk, then takes position and shadows pistol ready. First operative reaches 2nd floor, steps onto catwalk. His boot hits hydraulic fluid. He slips, just a little, just enough. Reese fires, tranquilizer dart to neck. He's down before he realizes what happened. Other 2 hear him fall, rush toward position. She's already moving, circles behind them, gets to stairs they just came up. Now she has high ground and they're trapped on catwalk. "Henderson's down," one shouts into radio. 2nd floor, southeast corner. Unknown hostiles. Hostile singular, Tower 4's voice corrects over their shared channel. "Captain Mackenzie is alone, and she's playing with you. Stop letting her dictate engagement." 2 operatives on catwalk split up. Professional decision. Don't let her pin them both in one place. But it's wrong decision, because now they can't support each other. Reese takes first one from behind, silent takedown, flex cuffs. Second realizes too late he's alone. He panics, fires blind into shadows. bullets sparking off metal noise deafening an enclosed space. Reese waits for him to empty magazine, then steps out of cover. Drop the weapon. He freezes, stares at her. Young, maybe 25, scared now that tables have turned. You don't have to die for them, Reese says. Whatever they're paying you, it's not worth it. Drop the weapon and walk away. For a moment, she thinks he might. Then his hand moves toward backup pistol. She shoots him in shoulder. Not lethal, but he's done fighting. 3 down, 2 to go, and somewhere in this warehouse, Tower 4 is watching. Outside, Brennan reaches perimeter. Gunfire has stopped. Either Reese is dead or she's won. He's betting on one, but he needs to be sure. He's already handed the evidence drives to Ellis, who's racing back to Kane. Now Brennan is returning to the warehouse against orders, against common sense. Because Reese is Tommy's daughter, and he won't lose her the way he lost Tommy. He enters through same door Reese used, moves carefully. His knees protest every step, but he ignores them. Inside, he finds first downed operative. Tranquilizer dart. Alive but unconscious. Good. That's Reese's work. He climbs the second floor, finds 2 more. Both secured. Both alive. His heart rate slows. She's okay. She's handling it. Then he hears voice over radio. Tower 4 speaking to someone. She's on 3rd floor now, northwest corner. You have her trapped. End this. Brennan doesn't hesitate. He runs for stairs. 3rd floor is mostly open space. Old offices along one wall. Catwalks extending over main warehouse floor. And in northwest corner, Reese. She's pinned down behind metal desk. 2 operatives have her in crossfire. She can't move without exposing herself. Brennan assesses situation in under 3 seconds. Then he does what he's always done best. He improvises. There's old fire suppression system overhead. Rusted, probably non-functional, but maybe. He shoots near a sprinkler head. Water explodes from broken pipe. Not much pressure, but enough. It cascades down, creating curtain between Reese and her attackers. She doesn't waste opportunity. She moves through water using it as concealment. Gets an angle on first operative. Drops him with leg shot. Second operative spins toward her. Brennan shoots him in shoulder. Operative goes down. It's over. Reese emerges from cover, soaking wet, breathing hard. She sees Brennan on catwalk above. I thought I ordered you to complete the mission. I did. Handed evidence to Ellis on my way back. He's delivering it to Kane now. Brennan climbs down carefully. Besides, I've been disobeying orders since before you were born. Not about to stop now. Ethan, despite everything, Reese almost smiles. Then lights go out. Complete darkness. Emergency lights should have kicked on, but they don't. Someone cut power. Tower 4's voice echoes through warehouse, no longer over radio, but actual voice amplified by acoustics. Impressive, Captain. 847 kills, and you still maintain non-lethal protocols when possible. Your father would be proud. So would mine, though he doesn't yet know the monster he created. Reese's blood freezes. Show yourself, she shouts into darkness. Close enough to have killed you both already if that was my intention. But I didn't come here to kill you, Captain. I came to make you an offer. I'm not interested. You haven't heard it yet. The network you've been hunting, I'm dissolving it. Too many liabilities. People like Colonel Rutherford who panic under pressure. Organization has outlived usefulness. Brennan and Reese move back to back, covering each other, trying to locate voice. But I'm keeping profitable parts. Tower 4 continues. Intelligence, access, leverage. And I need someone with your skills to help me build something new. Something cleaner. You tortured me for 8 months. I tested you for 8 months, and you passed. You're exactly what I need. Join me, and I'll give you what you want. Names of everyone involved in your father's death. Evidence to bring them all down. Justice, Captain. Real justice. I've already found them. 28 of them are dead. 28 middle management. I'm offering you board of directors. The people who gave orders. The ones who actually matter. Reese doesn't answer immediately. She's moving, trying to triangulate voice. And if I refuse, then I kill Colonel Brennan right now, and you spend rest of your very short life knowing you could have saved him, just like you couldn't save your father. Just like my father couldn't save his honor when he chose silence over truth. Lights snap on, blinding after darkness. And there he is, Tower 4, standing on catwalk opposite them. Rifle aimed directly at Brennan's head. Marcus Brennan, 51 years old, gray hair, cold eyes like his father's but without the warmth. Wearing civilian clothes, nothing to identify him beyond absolute confidence in stance. The man from her nightmares, the son of the man who trained her. Your choice, Captain. Partner with me or bury another father figure. Reese raises her weapon, but angle is wrong. Marcus has cover. She can't get clean shot without exposing Brennan. Don't, Brennan says quietly, staring at his son. Don't do it for me, Reese. Touching, Marcus says, but unnecessary. Captain Mackenzie is pragmatic. She knows when she's beaten. Reese's mind races. No clean shot, no cover, no time. But she's not beaten because she's Ghost, and Ghost doesn't lose. You're right, she says. I am pragmatic. She lowers her weapon. Marcus's smile widens. Smart girl, now. Which is why I called for backup 20 minutes ago. Marcus's smile falters. Behind him, door explodes inward. FBI tactical team, military police, Admiral Kane himself, and at front range, Master Ellis, holding tablet, showing live thermal imaging of entire warehouse. We've had you on surveillance since you entered building, Kane announces. Every word you just said was recorded. Every offer you made, every threat. Marcus's rifle swings toward new arrivals. Don't! Brennan's voice is calm, but his eyes are devastated, looking at his son. You're 70 feet from nearest exit. 20 armed personnel between you and freedom. And Captain Mackenzie has her weapon aimed at your head. You're not walking out of here, son. For a long moment, Marcus doesn't move. Then slowly he lowers rifle. Clever, he says to Reese. You used yourself as bait. Again. It's what I do best. FBI agents swarm catwalk. Marcus is cuffed, disarmed, rid his rights. As they lead him past Reese, he pauses. This isn't over. Network is bigger than you know, deeper than you can imagine. You've won battle. But war is over, Reese interrupts. Catherine Aldridge's evidence includes financial records, communications names, everything. Your network is finished. Marcus's expression doesn't change, but something in his eyes dims. As they lead him past Brennan, Marcus stops. Father and son lock eyes. I'm sorry you had to see this old man, Marcus says quietly, but you taught me everything I know. Every skill, every tactic. You made me what I am. No, Brennan's voice breaks. I taught you how to serve your country, how to protect the innocent. You chose to become this. I chose to survive in a world you were too naive to understand. A world where honor gets you killed and loyalty gets you betrayed. You taught me the skills. The world taught me how to use them. He's led away. Brennan stands frozen, watching his son disappear. Kane approaches Reese and Brennan. Are you both all right? We're fine, sir, Reese says, but she's watching Brennan, who looks like he's aged 10 years in the last 10 minutes. The hostages, Reese asks. Safe. Lieutenant Hargrove is with his family at base hospital, shaken but unharmed. Catherine Aldridge is already coordinating with federal prosecutors. And the evidence? Kane holds up secure tablet. Right here, everything we need to dismantle network completely. 8 months of Catherine's investigation combined with what we recovered today. Names, accounts, operations. It's over. Brennan sinks onto crate, the adrenaline fading, leaving nothing but crushing weight of what he's just learned. His son, his own son. Reese sits beside him. Jim, this isn't your fault. Isn't it? I trained him. I taught him everything. And he used it all to become, he can't finish. You taught him how to be a soldier. He chose to become something else. Those are his choices, not yours. But I'm his father. I should have seen it. Should have known. You couldn't have known. He was deep cover for years. Even CIA didn't know he'd gone rogue. Brennan looks at her with haunted eyes. He tortured you for 8 months. My son did that to you. To Tommy's daughter. How can you even look at me? Reese puts her hand on his shoulder. Because you're not him. You came back. You stood with me. You helped me finish what Dad started. That's what matters. You're not responsible for Marcus's choices. You're only responsible for yours. And you chose right. They sit in silence. Around them, FBI agents process scene. Paramedics check wounded operatives. Military police secure perimeter. Mission complete. Network broken. But for Brennan, the victory tastes like ashes. 3 months later, congressional hearing room packed. Media cameras line back wall. Senators sit in elevated chairs. Admiral Victor Kane testifies for 6 hours. Lays out everything. Procurement fraud, intelligence leaks, murders, cover-ups. Every name, every account, every piece of evidence. When he finishes, room sits in stunned silence. Then questions begin. Colonel Victoria Rutherford receives 40 years in federal prison, no parole. Marcus Brennan receives life without possibility of release. 14 other network members arrested. 6 more under investigation. Network dismantled completely. Catherine Aldridge wins Pulitzer Prize for investigative journalism. Her book becomes bestseller, all proceeds going to veteran support organizations. Lieutenant Dylan Hargrove cleared of all charges, commended for cooperation under duress. He starts mentoring program for junior officers facing ethical dilemmas. Admiral Kane retires with full honors, establishes Brigadier General Thomas Mackenzie Memorial Scholarship Fund. 20 children of fallen service members receive full college tuition, and Captain Reese Mackenzie officially retires from military service. Declines Medal of Honor. Give it to someone still fighting, she says. She accepts promotion to major in recognition of 16 years of service. Then she disappears. Again, James Brennan's Ranch, New Mexico. 6 months after congressional hearings. Fence is fixed. Horses are fat and happy. Land stretches empty and peaceful under endless sky. Brennan is on porch when he hears a vehicle. Old Jeep, dusty from drive. Reese climbs out. She looks different. Hair longer. Civilian clothes. No weapons visible. She could be anyone. Just woman in early 30s enjoying New Mexico sun. But Brennan knows better. Captain, he says. Colonel. She climbs porch steps, sits in chair beside him. Nice place. It's home. Been home 7 years. Will be until I die, I expect. They sit in comfortable silence, watching horses graze, watching clouds build over mountains. Kane's testimony worked, Reese says finally. Reforms are actually happening. Oversight, accountability, everything Dad wanted. Tommy would be satisfied with that. Would he? She turns to look at Brennan. Would he be satisfied knowing it took his death and 10 years of his daughter hunting killers to make it happen? He'd be satisfied knowing you survived, knowing you're here, knowing you have chance at life not defined by revenge. Is that what this is, a life? Could be, if you let it. Reese doesn't answer. She's staring at horizon. Military offered me reinstatement, full rank back pay, Medal of Honor. You turned them down. How do you know? Because you're here instead of Fort Bragg. She almost smiles. I told them to give medal to someone still fighting. I'm done. Brennan is quiet for a moment. Then I visited Marcus last week in prison. Reese looks at him, surprised. He wouldn't see me. Refused visitation rights. Brennan's voice is heavy. I keep thinking about what he said, that I taught him everything, that I made him what he is. That's not true. Isn't it I taught him to compartmentalize, to separate emotion from mission, to do whatever was necessary to complete objective, all the things that make a good soldier. He just applied them differently. You taught him to protect people. He chose to hurt them. That's on him, not you. Brennan stands, walks to porch railing. I keep wondering if I'd been a better father, if I'd been there more instead of always deployed, always on mission. Maybe he wouldn't have stopped. Reese stands too. You can't change the past. You can only choose what you do now. And right now you can choose to let guilt destroy you. Or you can choose to honor the good you've done, the lives you've saved, the soldiers you've trained who didn't become monsters. She pauses. You saved my life, Jim. Multiple times. You helped me finish what Dad started. You stood with me when you could have walked away. That's who you are, not Marcus's choices, yours. Brennan turns to face her. His eyes are wet. Thank you for that, for seeing something worth saving in a broken old man. You're not broken. You're healing. There's a difference. She smiles. Besides, this place needs work. Fences to fix, horses to care for, and I could use somewhere to stay while I figure out who Reese Mackenzie is when she's not Ghost. Brennan's face transforms. Hope entering for first time in months. You're staying. If the offer's still open, I can help with ranch. Maybe teach riding to local kids. Be something other than weapon for once. The offer will always be open, for as long as you need. They shake hands. Then Brennan pulls her into hug. Thank you, he whispers, for giving old soldier purpose again. Thank you for teaching me that justice doesn't always come from rifle barrel. Sometimes it comes from choosing to live instead of hunt. They separate, sit back on porch, watching sunset paint desert in copper and gold, two soldiers at peace. Two people who fought war for 35 years and finally won. Not because they killed all enemies, but because they chose to stop fighting. Chose to believe that justice doesn't always require more blood. Sometimes it just requires patience, persistence, refusing to give up even when system fails, being weapon when necessary, but human when possible. 6 months later, the ranch thrives. Reese teaches horseback riding to children from local reservation. Brennan mentors young veterans struggling with transition to civilian life. They fix fences together, watch sunsets, share stories about Tommy. The nightmares fade. Slowly, but they fade. One afternoon, Reese finds Brennan and Barn looking at old photograph. Tommy McKenzie in dress uniform, standing beside younger Brennan, both grinning. Brothers in everything but blood. You miss him, Reese says, every day. But having you here, it's like having piece of him back. She stands beside him. He'd be proud of you, of us, of what we built from all that pain. I hope so. Reese unpins something from her jacket, bronze star, her father's, the one Brennan gave her months ago. She pins it to barn wall next to where they keep tack. There, so he's here with us, watching, making sure we don't forget. Forget what? That some wars are worth fighting, some debts are worth paying, and some promises are worth keeping no matter how long it takes. They walk outside, sunsetting, painting sky in shades of fire. What now? Brennan asks. Now we live. We take care of this place. We help kids learn to ride. We fix fences and watch sunsets and be people who survived something terrible. Tommy would like that. Yeah, he would. They sit on porch as darkness falls. Two soldiers who found peace not by winning war, but by choosing to leave battlefield. Stars come out over New Mexico desert. Countless points of light in endless darkness. Somewhere up there, Thomas McKenzie watches his daughter and smiles because she's not Ghost anymore. She's not a weapon. She's just Reese, his daughter, alive, free, at peace. And that finally is enough.